Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whenever you happen to be listening to us here at the Morgan Podcasting Network. We appreciate it. My name is Rod Morgan. I will serve as the host of Balls and Brew this evening. It is our sports podcast. We are rounding ever closer to the NFL season. Throughout the year, we will pick games and give you bets that you can make on your app with help from our football handicapper. We will bring him in soon. We will also be covering wrestling, the two-night SummerSlam extravaganza over the weekend. We will get to that in the second half of this pod. That will be hosted by the executive producer of this and every other podcast on the network, the man who makes it possible for you to be viewing this live, maybe on Facebook right now. Shout out Corey Nance. Thank you very much. If you're checking in there live on Facebook, we appreciate it. You can check us out later on YouTube. Follow us on YouTube. If you're there, smash that subscribe button, as the YouTubers and the kids like to say. We would appreciate that. If you're listening to us on Spotify or iTunes, do Jimmy and I a tremendous favor and literally write a comment that just says this show is good. And the fact that you wrote a comment on our podcast then ups the numbers, and a few might be able to see it. So thank you much. And after that long intro, I bring in James.
Rod, we've got NFL, we've got WWE, and we've got poor internet connections. So hey, we are ready to rock. Let's go.
Was I getting spotty there already? I wondered about that. That's unfortunate that I was getting spotty already. Hopefully, Jimmy, the wonderful producer that he is, can clear that up, and my eloquent, great intro will be fabulous for all of you out there in pod world. Joining us, he was absent last week because apparently he was on fire watch because he had been transported in time to an old West town where they did not have proper alarms, proper extinguishers, hoses, water. None of that was available. And so our guy, Chris King, had to be watching fires last week. Chris, hello.
There's so many things wrong with that statement, Rod. I'm not going to even get started there because I have a list of things that I learned from last week's podcast where I wasn't here.
Apparently, wait a minute. Can we come back to you after we introduce the fourth member of the show, and then you can tell all of us the
Chris is hot.
No, this has to do with Williams here, so this is going to lead right into it. All right. Apparently, Geno Smith is the most accurate passer of all time. Everybody in this podcast, except for me, has forgotten the last 30 years of the Chargers being Chargers. I don't know how you guys have forgotten that history likes to repeat itself. And our fourth guest, the most knowledgeable person of the NFL that we all know, is secretly gunning for my job, apparently. He was flawless last week, signing off and doing everything else that I'm supposed to do. Secretly working behind the scenes to take my gig.
Chris, listen, welcome to it, all right? He's secretly working to take your gig. He no-sells me all the time. I mean, but we love him because he's the man who can crunch the football numbers and help you make the bets and help you possibly win money. But, shocking secret, he makes the best bets for himself and never tells us about him on the show. He's our guy, Josh Williams.
I promise I don't try to do that. And, Chris, I was just as surprised as you were to hear that Geno Smith stat. I mean, how is he the most accurate quarterback in 3 years? But no, man, not come for your job. There's only one guy who can say goodbye, internet, and that's you. But we'll get to that later, I'm sure. Rod, how about this NFC East? We're about ready to. I'm sure Chris is thrilled with what's going on in Dallas right now to talk about the NFC East.
We got breaking news that Rod's going to be interested in. Teddy Two Gloves is back in the league, Rod. Teddy Two Gloves with your Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Look out. Baker and Teddy Two Gloves on the same team. Talk about mega powers, Jimmy Jam. Look out. Or is Miss Elizabeth going to come? Oh, no, actually, Miss Elizabeth can't come around. R.I.P. Miss Elizabeth. But all right. You know what, Chris? Let's give you a respite from having to get into the mess that is the Cowboys. Last week, in lieu of the new cold open question of the week, we did a tribute to Ryan Sandberg. I felt that was an appropriate use for our beginning segment last week. But this week, the cold open question is back. My name, for those of you watching or checking in later on YouTube, is a bit of a hint. School, yes, that's right. School may have started where you're at. My son, the Vanimal, goes back to school next week. Kids go earlier and earlier. It is absolutely crazy. We're not going to do a rant about that. My simple, cold, open question is this, gentlemen, bring yourself back to being a kid. Your absolute go-to must-have back-to-school item was what? Jimmy Jam, I'll come to you first.
What you keeping tabs on? Math, science, history. Yeah, the Trapper Keeper. It's your name. Sorry, Rod. Yeah, but it definitely was. It was that getting that cool Trapper Keeper. You can keep everything in. Really enjoyed the different. You could put different subjects in, Rod. This was like brand new. It was amazing.
The Trapper Keeper. So what were you going? Solid colors? Were you a sports logo guy? What were you doing? Were you getting cheetah print? I don't see you as a cheetah print guy. What were you doing on the Trapper Keeper?
No. I was definitely going sports team folders for sure before the actual what you're keeping tabs on came out. But the sports team folders were key.
Nice. All right, Chris. I'd be interested to hear your go-to school supply because
Quill.
You needed you needed a quill. You needed like your own ink. You know what I mean? Like you
Candle.
Maybe
I was going to ask. Sure. Do you need to be a little bit more specific for me? Because there may have been different eras of time when I was in elementary, middle, and high school. So you gotta tell me which time of a kid am I remembering here?
See, the way I thought about it in my brain, right? And I like that Jimmy went to Trapper Keeper because, like, I was thinking about, I meant by your back to school supply kind of deal, right? Like, you've got to have these things, but you want to be cool, right? You got to be yourself. So, like, what was your go-to? Like, was it there's this typical brand of glue? Was there a certain backpack? Was there a lunchbox? Like, what was it?
No, I didn't care about any of that stuff. I had to have new kicks. I needed new shoes. And really back then it was the All-Star Converse, the Chuck Taylors. Those are my usual go-to, and I usually have a new solid pair. I even had the ones that went real high that you doubled over. Remember those?
Heck yeah, those are the best. Love those. I think I had some of those in Carolina Blue back when I was like in second grade, and those were my dad's from way back in the day. So I can only imagine what yours were quite like. Mr. Williams, your go-to school supply.
Man, I don't know if it's a school supply. Jimmy took the Trapper Keeper, and Chris took my Adidas shoes to rock into school day one. So I'll go with the Walkman. As much as I love music, always trying to rock the Walkman early on. Play some STP, and let's go from there. I wasn't really as much of a studier in high school, so except when it came to NFL or March Madness or stuff like that.
You did well enough at math, my friend, because you can fire out these numbers quickly enough all the time. Let me ask you this. Were you an early adopter of earbud types, right? Because remember, even back in the day, we had those headphones that kind of would stick into your ear the way that we have earbuds now, or were you always a over-the-ear guy with the Walkman?
Yeah, they had the foam. Remember the foam headphones? I got those real early and kind of never really got out of them. I was probably late to the party on the earbuds.
All right. Well, for me, it is simple. It's any kind of pencil, almost. All right. I don't care what's on the pencil. I don't care what brand the pencil is, but that pencil needs to be, wait for it, strong. Because the only thing I cared about with the pencil was at some point I was going to get into a pencil war with somebody somewhere, whether that be study hall, whether that be English class, whether that be backstage at drama, whether that be in the broadcasting studio with Jimmy Jam, a class we had together since we were sophomores in high school, and we would have the pencil fights. So give me a Dixon Ticonderoga. All right, there was a certain brand of NFL logoed pencils that were absolute great. And like Williams, you'll love this being a superstitious guy. I felt like if you had a crappy NFL team logo pencil, it was going to get broken every time. But if you had somebody that was good, right? Like the Giants were good back in the day when we were kids. Amazing that the Giants are where they're at now. But so that's what it was for me. I had to have a strong pencil to win pencil wars.
Sixth grade. It was a quarter a piece, I think, for the pencils in little pencil dispenser. They had to stop selling those because people were buying them. And, you know, the bowls were huge then. They were going for a lot of money. I probably had 50 of them. And do not sharpen them. Are you kidding me? Why would you sharpen them? It ruins the value.
Oh, we knew which days those got filled because ours would get sold out. We knew which days got refilled.
That's
It's like
awesome.
the guys at Goodfellas knew whenever the money came into Lufthansa. Chris and his buddies knew whenever the good pencils were coming in. That's awesome.
All right. Well, my bus got there real early. We knew what day we had to get there and rush to those. There's 3 of us, and even though there was 4 pencil dispensaries in the halls, we would hit 3 and then try to get to the 4th one as quick as possible.
It was Stacks and Jimmy 2 times and Dutch. You guys were an absolute knockout crew, pulling off jobs all over the Fort Wayne area.
That's so funny, dude. Pencils were back in the day were terrific.
Love pencils. You don't see them very much anymore. And if I do have to use a pencil, I want it to be mechanical. That's where I'm at now as a 45-year-old man. But where we are at now, look at that transition. I've been hosting podcasts for a while, is we are going to the NFC East. I've mentioned Lufthansa, the Heist and Goodfellas. Let's start with the New York Giants, because I don't feel like there's a whole lot to say other than talking about the weird quarterback carousel they have going. Williams, what do you got for us on the G-Men?
Yeah, their over-under is only 5.5. That's even money. Their under is under 5.5. That's minus 120. So more people think they're going to win less than 5 games this year than most. But Malik Neighbors, probably the best fantasy player on a bad team out there. Not out of the question that he leads the league in targets this year with Russ and possibly Jackson Dart throwing to him, and maybe even famous Jameis, your boy, Rod. He might start as the 3rd quarterback, but who knows? Who knows how they're going to divvy up the quarterback snaps this year? Giants face the toughest schedule in the league this year. They obviously have it.
What?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. What are you talking about? How is this possible? Again, Williams, this happened last year, and I'm going to do my quick little rant again. Something is wrong with the NFL schedule formula if one of your worst teams ends up with the hardest schedule. I'm sorry. We need to do something different.
They got to play the Eagles twice. They got to play the Cowboys and Redskins twice. Those are all solid teams, especially the Eagles. And then they get screwed.
The Cowboys without Micah Parsons. I'm sure that might be one of the times the Giants get a win. What are you talking about?
I'm just saying that doesn't, but they're not a pushover. So these aren't easy teams that they have to play twice no matter what. All of these teams are going to have tough schedules.
Yeah, and not only do they play the NFC East, but they get the NFC North and the AFC West. Probably
That's the reason.
Yeah, probably the 2 best divisions in football, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, can Brian Daboll work some magic with Russ and Jackson Dart? That's going to be the question. And then how long a leash does each one have? How long a leash does Brian Daboll have? He won Coach of the Year a few years ago, but I know these Giants fans are kind of fed up with the Giants offense. I don't blame him. I blame the GM, but I know a lot of Giants fans blame him. So we'll see. Watch out for rookie running back Cam Scatabo from Arizona State. This guy is a tank. Think old school, think like John Riggins, Larry Zonka. If you're a little younger, think Mike Allstott. This guy just runs. He loves running over people. They've had to tell him.
Okoye? Are we
That's
at Christian
who.
Okoye
Yes,
levels?
that's who I was going to bring up, Rod. That's exactly who it is.
Yeah, they've had to tell him to tone it down in practice because he just loves running over everybody. But I mean, if we're going to talk about the Giants' strength, they really only have one strength on this team. That's the defensive line, led by Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, and the rookie Abdul Carter, who is already getting rave reviews from camp. That dude's going to be a freak in the NFL. So I think if you can get pressure on the quarterback, you always have a chance to be in some games that the casual fan doesn't expect you to be into. So, and we know how good a coach Brian Daboll is. So, I mean, the Giants are probably going to win a few games this year that no one saw coming because of that defensive line.
Williams, you just sort of led me there. Every year I get a little bit wild. I get a little bit freaky. And this year I'm getting a little bit wild and freaky with the Giants. All right. I agree with you that we have a tough division because you have the Super Bowl champs in it, right? You have America's team in it, and you have the Redskins who look like they're on the up and up. But what if the Redskins stumble and fall a little bit? Because that can also happen in the NFL. And what if this really is the year where the inmates go crazy on Jerry Jones? Because it all just feels a little bit different right now with Micah Parsons. We're going to get to that in a second, but it all just feels a little bit different. And what if the Eagles have a bit of a Super Bowl hangover? And then you factor in a situation where, Williams, you said it there. I think what we're dealing with in New York with Daboll is a Bill Belichick situation. Belichick got fired, run out of Cleveland. Then he ends up in New England and becomes one of the greatest coaches the NFL has ever seen. Tom Brady had something to do with that, of course. I'm not trying to say he didn't, but I think you might have that with Dayball, where he's going to get fired by the Giants and he's going to get hired next year. And if it's a decent situation, he's going to show himself to be a good coach. So you factor in a good coach who's going to be fighting for his job. You got 3 different quarterbacks because, Williams, you keep talking about Russell Wilson and Dart. Famous Jameis is right there. He's going to win you 2 games that you don't want him to win you. He's going to lose you a couple games, no doubt, but he's going to win you a couple that you don't want him to win you. They're going to run the ball, like you said. That defense is strong. I think the Giants are going to be sniffing at the playoffs. I'm not predicting them to the playoffs, but sniffing at the playoffs. Final seed in the NFC. Jimmy Jam, your thoughts?
So, Rod, I kind of went with you in that the Cowboys, I think, are going to have a down year. The Commanders, I think, are going to go a couple steps down. That just means the Giants are going to go even further down, in my opinion. I do not think this is going to be a good season for them at all. I think you will see Jameis Winston win 2 games, the only 2 games of the year for the Giants.
Jimmy Jam with some heat, even sort of going at my guy Jameis, but I want to move on to Chris. So Jimmy, look at him getting the shot in there like a veteran, knowing that I won't be able to get back at him because it's Chris's turn. Chris, what do you got on the G-Man?
If Jimmy's luck on picking winners also applies to him picking losers, you're in for a nice ride here.
Yeah, let's go Giants! Congrats! Let's go!
I don't know if that can happen. I think their only hope to grow as a team is keep the other team's offense off the field. So run with those 2 running backs and let Jackson Dart do whatever he can. Let him lead the team. Let him get the reps. Listen,
that makes sense in theory, but the guy is fighting for his job. I think they're going to hold off on Jackson Dart. I think he's going to go with Jameis and Russell first to just really see what he has, because I think that's what the veterans are going to want. And then if it goes bad, like you guys are predicting, that's when I think we'll see Jackson Dart, and it really won't matter. But games that the Giants want to win, I don't think Jackson Dart's going to start. Williams, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I think as long as the Giants are winning, I think Russ, stays at quarterback, unless he's just absolutely terrible. But Russ has been.
You. Like, do you think the first go-to is Dart? You think they're going to pass up Jameis and go to Dart as the next starter? You think that Jameis is just there in his emergency guy?
Yeah. Unless Dart just absolutely is just way, way, way behind with the playbook. I think they go Russ and then Dart and then break glass in case of emergency Jameis. But one thing that Russell has going for him is that his stats are actually pretty good in 3 wide receiver sets and passing it to the outside. That Malik Neighbors is one of the best receivers already perimeter. And so Dayball does like to play 3 wide receiver sets. So that could be in Russ's favor this year to try and get the Giants some wins early. But that schedule is brutal.
That's enough Giants. You're right. The schedule is brutal, but I'm not afraid of it. I'm going to look it right in the face and say, screw that schedule. The Giants are going to be a strong team. All right. Here's my take for you. Jerry Jones is old and starting to go a little bit insane, but that doesn't matter. He's also crazy like a fox. Okay. The big Dallas Cowboys Netflix documentary series is just around the corner. And guess what Jerry Jones has done once again? The Cowboys lead everywhere. All of your football podcasts are talking about the Cowboys. Sports Center's talking about the Cowboys. We have to get updates from Dak, and we have to get updates from Micah and Micah's agent. And does Jerry know his name? And does Jerry talk to Micah? Did they agree to a contract? Did they not agree to a contract? What's going on in Dallas? Williams, we'll get your breakdown of the Cowboys in a second, but I think it's only fair to our audience and to our guy Chris to let him start with his state of the Cowboys before we get the breakdown.
So, when it comes to this whole Jerry Jones versus a star player holdout, how many times have we seen this? You can go all the way back to 94 with Emmitt Smith, right? And can any of you guys name a time where the players didn't end up getting exactly what they wanted? No, you can't. So I'm not too concerned. What I do think is a little bit funny and hilarious, even though I'm a Cowboys fan, is that both sides are acting pretty dumb. Maybe doing too much of this out in public. The Cowboys being dumb, not playing an all-pro defensive end like he should be. A all-pro defensive end who for some reason won't file a grievance with the NFL to get his base salary for this year up an extra $3 to $4 million. Because right now he's getting paid in this 5th year like a linebacker, so that's only 21 mil. If he was going to be designated as a defensive end, which the Cowboys themselves have designated him as, which is also dumb, he should be getting paid $24.8 million. So, like, why isn't he doing that to make more money right away and stick it to the Cowboys, even if they're not wanting to negotiate fairly?
All fair questions that no one has an answer for except Jerry Jones. So we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. Chris, I tend to agree with you that Micah Parsons probably isn't going to be traded from the Patriots. I was definitely trolling when I traded to the Patriots. Excuse me, not traded from the Patriots. I was just trolling when I would say that. Williams, your breakdown of the Cowboys. You should know more about this than me anyway.
Yeah, over 8.5 plus 120, under 8.5 for the Cowboys, minus 145. So heavily juiced to the under there. And that's no surprise based off the turmoil you've got going on in Dallas right now. Yeah, I mean, you got Jerry Jones totally fumbling the bag here on this contract situations. Parsons was willing to take less in Dallas to stay in Dallas for his entire career and to make the team better around him. And Jerry drug his feet, didn't want to negotiate with the agent, let the other 3 pass rushers in the league get monster contracts. And that's how you get to this point here where Parsons is requesting a trade. I mean, Garrett got 4 for 160. Crosby got 3 for 106. Watt got 3 for 123. Highest paid non-quarterback, TJ Watt, $41 million a year. And now Jerry won't talk to Micah's agent. So, I mean, I think that's crazy. You know what's interesting though? At DK, the odds to trade for Parsons had the Raiders at 25-1, but offshore, the Raiders were 5-1. I found that kind of interesting, but. I mean, you guys are big like NBA guys. Let me just throw this out here. I know this isn't apples to apples, but tell me if this reminds you of a Joker stat. Over the last 4 years, when Parsons is on the field, the Cowboys are the best defensive unit in the NFL per EPA. Without him, they drop all the way down to the second worst. What does Joker do on the basketball court? He makes everyone better. He cleans up mistakes made by others. He always makes the right decision. His IQ is off the charts. What does Micah Parsons do on the football field? He makes everyone better around him. He cleans up mistakes by others. He's always in the right place. His physical gifts and anticipation are off the charts. Now, he doesn't play offense, obviously, or else he would be up for the MVP every year. I mean, that's how good this guy is. And if you're a Cowboys fan, I think you just got to be fed up with Jerry. I mean, when is enough enough? He's running this organization like a circus sideshow. He knows that the Cowboys aren't relevant on the field. So that's the only way he's going to get in front of the media is by creating unwanted drama in the offseason. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about the Dallas.
You Bears fans just don't understand what a good franchise is, do you? Because we are nothing but relevant every single year. We've been winning double-digit games and getting to the playoffs almost every single year lately, right? And I fed this to you guys. Jerry has done this all the time. Just recently with CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott last year, what did he do? He paid both of them, made Dak's the biggest paid quarterback. Don't you realize that this is exactly what's going to happen with Parsons? He's going to get the deal he wants. Jerry's just getting the attention on the Cowboys.
Hey, Chris, when's the last time the Cowboys went to the Super Bowl?
That's what I was going to ask.
When was the last time the Bears won a Super Bowl?
1985. They talk about
yeah. Last time the Cowboys went to a Super Bowl was 1995, which was 10 years after the Bears won.
And we won.
But the Bears went to 2007, which was no, they didn't actually.
Yeah,
Who
we
won
did.
the 2007 Super Bowl, Jim? Who won the 2007
Yeah.
Super Bowl?
Your and our Indianapolis Colts, who we've already talked about. They're not going to be a good team this year.
Richardson's healthy now. What are you talking about? All right, Jimmy, let me come to you on this.
Yeah.
Williams apparently not only is gunning for Chris's job, not only no sells me all the time, and now he's auditioning to come on the NBA show. Michael
Apparently.
Parsons is Nikola Jokic. You're not
Throwing
getting
a
that
Jokic
anywhere
out
else other
there.
than here.
I like it. I like it a lot. I agree with Vegas. I think 8.5 is a terrific line for that. I'm going under. I think they're going to win 8 games this year. I think they are going to be in second place, Chris. But I just don't see them doing anything more than that. I really don't.
Even if
place.
Parsons sits out, right, and they don't have the great defense, EPA, next gen stat that Williams likes to throw out there, right? If you take away that Eagles game, our first game of the year, Thursday at Philadelphia, I have to assume we're probably going to lose that game,
Let's
right?
go. Are we running down the Cowboys schedule right now? Let's
Yeah,
go.
let's go.
Week 1.
Then
Giants week 2.
Then we got Giants, Bears, Panthers, Jets,
Packers. Different
Jets.
team.
Yeah.
Jets, Panthers, Washington, Denver. There's a real scenario. We're still 7-1 at the end of that.
Oh,
streak.
get out of here. 7-1.
Oh, the Dallas
That
propaganda
means you think
shit.
they're going to win 7 straight.
We get the Packers at home. I'm not worried about going to the Bears. I'm not worried
You
about
should
the
be. Their
Giants
defense is really good.
or the Jets or the Panthers. We get Washington at home.
Justin Fields'
The
erasure on
toughest
this
one.
podcast will not stand.
The
Not at
toughest one
all.
will be going to Denver week 8, right? But that's still kind of
This
up
is
in the air. We
insane.
don't know what
This
to
is
expect
insane.
from Denver.
What are we doing? We didn't even run down the Colts schedule. We didn't even run down the Bears schedule. How have we allowed this? What
We
is
haven't
this,
done the Bears yet, but
K-fan in
we will.
Dallas? What's happening here?
If I'm anything, Rod, it's a fan.
Williams, what do you got for this nonsense?
Something.
I mean, I'm a Bears fan, but their organization has been terrible for like 30 years. So if you're the Cowboys and you're comparing to the Bears organization, like that's not a great thing. So
Williams is an absolute wild card. I have no idea what Williams is going to say, people. Okay, in case you guys didn't know, I have no idea what Williams is going to say. All right, I don't train Williams to say anything. I don't make Williams say anything. Williams does his own prep as part of his own process because he has his bets that he likes to make, right? And we don't pay him here at the Morgan Podcasting Network, so I don't try to put any reins on the man. But this is what makes the show special. I was going to go to Williams to back me up, and he essentially backs Chris's point by saying the Bears suck. That's what I mean.
No.
You
He's
never know what my
saying
guy's gonna say.
No, he's saying the Bears suck, but if you could compare to the Bears, that's horrible for you. So that's really bad for the Cowboys if you are comparing yourselves to the Bears, which has been a horrible organization. At least they have a GM.
I was really trying to
I'm talking
blame it
about
on
the organization.
Williams for comparing them and just making them seem like a clown show and not relevance when he's a Bears fan of that franchise.
They are, though, Chris. I love you, but they haven't. Yeah, they're relevant because he puts themselves. He puts themselves in the media. They're not good on the field. They haven't been good on the field for a long time.
We win more games than most any other NFL team.
And what did you do with that coach that won all those games? You fired him.
What? That's coaching in general anymore. We watched in the NBA coaches with winning records.
Now we're
and
talking
doing
about the
things-
NBA again. Two different sports. NBA fires
coaching.
coaches every year. Every year a
And-
coach gets fired. There's
So
nothing.
same way
There's
with
two
the
coaches.
NFL. That's the same with the NFL now.
No,
It
every
doesn't
team
matter.
fires their coach ever. This is
He is
ridiculous,
hot.
Chris.
Fire
I'm
Watch
hot
last week.
because just say it. I know you're a fan, and it's terrific. I'm a fan of the Bears. I want them to do great. The Cowboys have sucked for a long time. They have
Wow,
been. They have.
going to the playoffs 3 times more often than the Bears.
I'm not.
Sucks.
Yes, they are not good.
No,
What is
we
Oh, wow, I'm
we
going-
try to win. We don't tank. Bears, you can't claim that. Bears have tried to
Oh,
tank
here
in
he
the
goes.
past.
No, they haven't. That's the issue. They have not tried to tank. That's how bad they are.
Oh, Chris is going to the old war horses. He is.
They
fired up.
tank
Fire
the Bears. They are too dumb to tank.
Here's what. Listen, we need to put Chris on Firewatch every other week during the NFL season so that he comes back
Gets his
looking
rest.
bigger and
It's
ready
ridiculous.
to fire. I guess we haven't thought
No,
about
it's
that.
lack of rest.
There we go. All right. Well, listen, Williams. This means Jimmy thinks that things are not good for the Redskins based on him saying the Cowboys are going to be second with 8 wins.
Or the Commanders, for that matter.
That's correct. But listen, I'm going to go ahead and call them the Redskins because our president says that they have to go back and call themselves the Redskins. So that's what I'm going to do as well. Oh, but let's not spend too much time on the Redskins. But do you see the doom that Jimmy and I are portraying possibly for the Commanders?
yeah, possibly. They have the second biggest jump in strength of schedule from last season to this season. Their over is 9.5 minus 125. Under 9.5 is plus 105. So people still buying into them. But can't this is my biggest question. Can the fourth down conversion rate continue? All-time high that extended drives for them last year. They converted 87% of their fourth downs last year. Best in modern day history. How did that compare to the previous 3 seasons? In 2023, it was 55%, 2022, 48%, 2021, 50%. So they're probably bound to regress by then. They were able to convert on 87% of fourth downs, and they did not use a single quarterback sneak. That is unbelievable considering how many of those Philadelphia used. But going back through the record books, you guys will like the stat. The only two quarterbacks that had a better passing conversion rate on fourth down than Jaden Daniels had last year were 2002 Peyton Manning and 2007 Kurt Warner. So I feel like the fourth down conversion rate just cannot continue. One thing I will say positively for Jaden Daniels, he's using this virtual reality to help him read defenses, and he's not only using it at normal speed, he's using it at 1.75 speed. So I feel like that really has helped him gauge the defenses. And he's almost looked like he's playing in slow motion out there, but I think that's one of his superhuman strengths is being able to slow down the defense. So he wasn't able to do it against Philadelphia. Philadelphia has ridiculous pass rush. Week 1 game is very interesting because that's going to be a strong survivor pick as people are going to pick Washington based on last year's results. They play against the Giants. And we just talked about how good the Giants defensive line is. So that's a very interesting week 1 game.
4 TDs out of Russ week 1. Look out.
Yeah.
Russ is going to be hot week 1. Look out, Redskins. There you have it. The artificial intelligence is aiding Jaden Daniels. Chris, did you think that was what Williams was going to give when I said, tell us the breakdown on the Commanders?
No, I was not expecting AI or augmented reality to enter the chat, but I think that's the key though. If Daniels doesn't have the sophomore slump that we've seen a lot of quarterbacks have, and he keeps his accuracy up, then they have a chance to win this division. I think that they have been really smart to not have a punter on the team. That's why they go for fourth down all the time. But when you're converting that well, why you have a punter? Now you got an extra roster slot for somebody else.
That's what I'm talking about. I used to do that all the time, or I tried to do that on this Madden that I had for PlayStation 2, right? I tried to have my kicker be my punter, but the stupid thing made you have to roster still a punter, so you couldn't do it. So, but why not try to do it in the NFL? They probably don't have rules like that where you got to roster a punter. A team that does roster a punter that got a Super Bowl ring last year. How about that transition? I'm on fire myself tonight. Let's talk about the defending Super Bowl champs, the Philadelphia Eagles. They still look to be pretty loaded. We saw Kansas City go back-to-back recently. Will the birds be flying again? Williams, what do you got?
Yeah, we talked about Washington's big jump in strength of schedule. Next year, Philly has the most significant swing up in schedule out of any team from last year to this year. The Eagles go from the 4th easiest schedule in 2024 to the 4th toughest in 2025. They're over 11.5 plus 110, under 11.5 minus 130. So more people think they're going to go under 11.5 wins here. That's interesting. They only trailed for 62 plays in the fourth quarter last year. That's crazy. I expect Hurts to have to pass more this year with the schedule being more tough. And the fact that they lost some defensive pieces, they lost their OC. More than likely, there's going to be a natural letdown after you win the Super Bowl. So I don't think they're going to go out and destroy teams in the second half like they did last season. Hurts was 14th in dropbacks in the first half last year. He was 34th in dropbacks in the second halves of games because they just weren't pushed at all. You got to believe that this season that they will have to throw more. Philly had the second lowest pass rate of any team since 2011 last year. I think AJB is going to provide massive value in your fantasy drafts this season. AJ Brown was the number 5 overall wide receiver in first halves last year. But like the Eagles didn't get pushed at all in the second half. He fell all the way down to the 60th overall wide receiver in the second half. I think they're going to have to pass way more. I think AJ Brown is a great value for fantasy this year. And in regards to the tush push and Jalen Hurts fantasy scoring from the 1 yard line, Hurts has 2 of the 3 best seasons in the last 25 years when it comes to accumulating points from the 1 yard line. And that was 2023 and 2024. So I don't see that slowing down much next year, especially when the league almost voted it out in the offseason. So Philly 8-1 in 1-score games last year. We mentioned before, OC Kellen Moore is gone. 11 games versus 2024 playoff teams. That's a tough schedule. They finished the season at Washington, at Buffalo, and then versus Washington again. So that D has to chase around Jaden Daniels, Josh Allen, and then Jaden Daniels again to close the regular season. Guys, if they don't get the 1 seed, how tired is that defense going to be in the wild card round of the playoffs? That's something to keep in mind.
Well, you know what I've got to say here, and I'm all about honesty and transparency here on the show. And we give Jimmy a lot of grief about his picks. And quite honestly, I should be someone who is wearing something this year, who had to eat crow something, because I went way in on saying the Eagles were going to be terrible last year, that Nick Sirianni was going to be fired before the middle of the season. I said all of that at our preview show last year, and the Eagles only went on to win the Super Bowl. So I don't think I should be qualified or frankly allowed to say anything about the Eagles. We got into such Dallas Cowboys nonsense that we ran a little bit long here on this episode of Balls and Brew, but I do want to give Chris and Jimmy a chance to say something about the Eagles if they would like to here.
Chris, go right ahead, sir.
I just think that those last 3 weeks for the Eagles may determine whether or not they win this division. I think Washington has that good of a chance. I'm still thinking Dallas is going to win. That's who I'm picking. But in reality, Washington may be able to sneak the division win in these last 3 weeks.
There you have it. Williams, do you have any other nuggets to fire off before we say goodbye to you for this week, my friend?
No, I just think fantasy-wise, I think the Dallas passing game is going to be fun this year because unlike Chris, I think they're going to be behind in a lot of games, and their lack of the running game, like they were 26th in yards after contact last year in the running back room. Maybe Jaden Blue helps that a lot, but man, I don't know. I'm hoping Dak can stay healthy because if he is healthy and George Pickens has his head on straight, I actually think the Dallas passing game can be super fantasy friendly, even if the Cowboys don't have a great record by the end of the year.
If George Pickens keeps his head on straight and if Dak stays healthy are huge ifs in
They
Dallas,
are.
my friends. Go right ahead and go ahead. That's, I suppose, why they call it gambling. Oh, how about that? Well, you know what? If you thought it got a little bit spirited this week when Chris got all in his feelings about Cowboys talk, if any of these three gentlemen go after my guy Baker Mayfield next week when we are talking NFC South, we might see eruptions again. So that's what you can tune in to Balls and Brew next week for NFC South talk as we round closer to the regular season. Our wins draft, Jimmy, that will probably be a pretty spirited episode of this show as well, don't you think?
Oh, that'll be a lot of fun. And I'm sure like the Cowboys, for example, they've only had 4 more wins over the past 10 years than the Bears. Wait, 40 more wins over the past 10 years than the Bears.
Oh, Jimmy Jim, what a way to go out. Stick
Is that
around
good?
here a little bit with us, folks. We are going to talk some wrestling on Yeah, We Know, and Jimmy will host. And we got plenty to talk about. They had SummerSlam.
Goodbye, Internet.
Welcome to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the More You Know's podcasting network. In the ring with Jimmy, Chris, and Rod. Gentlemen, we had a pretty fun Monday Night Raw. We had a pretty fun SummerSlam. But there was a little dark cloud over SummerSlam. I just want to get your thoughts on it. Brock Lesnar, after a couple days, what are we thinking? We excited he's back? Is the extracurricular activities a little too much on us? Do we not care? What are our thoughts?
Jimmy Jam, I'm going to do this very, very carefully, but I'm going to say absolutely what is on my mind here, all right? And
Sure.
I hinted at this a little bit earlier today in our group thread discussion where we were talking about should a person be banned from a golf course? I just kind of believe we have to take a temperature check of where we are in America. And because of the way certain things are right now, we are kind of just a post-shame society. We just are. Like, people just don't have to suffer consequences for bad decisions anymore. We just power past things. We just move on. Do I agree with that? No, I absolutely do not. But I think we should absolutely operate in the real world, and that is the real world. So if that's the real world, I don't have a problem with Brock Lesnar coming back to wrestle matches for the WWE.
Chris.
I told you on the post show that we did that I was surprised that I was ever going to see Brock Lesnar in the WWE again, right? But I also be lying if I sat here and said I'm not exactly 100% sure about what he was accused of necessarily, the full details, or what has or hasn't been cleared by whoever. I know we've heard
Sure.
that WWE legal cleared him, but
Well, they had to have. Yeah.
right. So in my case, I guess I really don't care, right? Because I didn't know enough to be able to make an informed decision about somebody's guilt or whatnot. So I guess I don't really care. I also think this is probably the only thing they figured they could do when they botched the whole Cena heel thing and gave Cody the belt. They needed Cena to have something to keep him relevant for these last 4 months. I think they had to do something like this, and Lesnar was the obvious choice since they have a history, according to you.
We hopefully will be joined by a fourth person here pretty soon. I did send everything out to them. But yeah, so it's so strange because you look at it and he's been gone for about 2 years. Okay. He was scheduled to be at the 2004 Royal Rumble, according to reports. He was scheduled so much so that Braun Breaker took his place last minute, and they gave him the exact same everything that Braun Breaker did in the 2004 Royal Rumble. Brock Lesnar was supposed to have done. Now, the reason why they took him out is because of the lawsuit that was filed. So it's been about 1.5 years. Now, he has been paid that whole time. He was never fired, never suspended. So he had been paid. The lawyers came and they said that it's time for they can feel free to put him back on TV. This is the reason why there wasn't a press conference after night 1 or night 2. And to me, that shows that they know they're wrong. And they're going to do it. They're going to do it anyway. And again, it's those things that we can acknowledge and we can make choices. And our choices right now are to continue watching and seeing what's going on because that's what we're going to do. Yeah, it feels kind of, I don't know, it feels kind of gross, but also feels kind of lazy on the WWE's part talking about wrestling here. Like, we've seen it. I get it. Maybe they want to have a big match in Paris, or I think they're going back to Saudi Arabia pretty soon. So that might be the match there that they have Brock Lesnar and John Cena. Sure, why not? I mean, I guess that's fine. So that's kind of where I am on that. Any other comments on that? Yeah.
I was gonna say, let me retort to that. Like, you're probably not wrong that the WWE was like, hey, it would be kind of cool if we didn't have to answer questions, but I truly do believe a little bit of that decision was to aid their post-game show, which is really, really actually pretty good now. I watched a little bit of that when I watched because what I had done on Saturday night was I had paused it when then we jumped on and did our little quick live reactions, and then I went back and watched some of the post-show, and like they got reporters kind of in the locker room and they're bouncing back and forth. You know what I mean? Like it was actually really kind of cool. It felt a lot more like a sporting broadcast. And Lee Fitting, his name that's always up there under Paul Levesque when you see executive producers, apparently what he's really, really good at are pre and post game shows. And the WWE really wants to beef those up. So I think both things can be true, that I think maybe they were going to move away from press conferences to try to beef up their post-game show, but they certainly didn't mind doing it this week, so then they didn't have to answer those questions.
Exactly. A couple other things that we can chat about here. Seth Rollins was on the Rich Eisen show yesterday, and I loved it. I don't know if you guys were able to see it, but of course he hosted the show. I think it was last week, something like that. He hosted the show and he came in full crutches, everything like that. He told a story about how he told his daughter it was a fake boo-boo and don't tell anybody. And his daughter came back and said, hi, I told Miss whatever her name was, the kindergarten teacher. So then they had to go tell the kindergarten teacher not to say anything. I thought that was funny. But Rich Eisen texts Seth Rollins, Rod, that knee's looking pretty spry. And he said, thank you for participating, Seth Rollins, in that. So that's kind of cool that he went that far.
Yeah, I think it's what you want out of the guy at the top of your sport, right? You want a guy who is willing to always come up with a new angle. You want a guy who wants to constantly create entertainment and is willing to show up and pay off storylines like that. So shout out to my guy, Seth Rollins. I mean, I'm just going to be a complete fanboy because I think we're rounding into he's going to be even more of a dastardly heel. So I'm going to be like on Seth Rollins Island here. I have a feeling where we're headed.
Oh, I definitely think you're headed there. And finally, Guys, Karrion Kross is not on Raw. Apparently, his contract and Scarlett's is up this week. Are we ever going to see him again?
I don't think so.
You think he's done?
I do. Because I think that they loved the story that he was telling a little bit, right? They were like, okay, that's cool. That's a cool angle. But what they don't like is when you kind of are hijacking them from being able to tell stories they want to tell. And we were kind of getting there with cross chants happening an awful lot. And then, like, I think it's also a bad look for a WWE wrestler to be encouraging those. While it seems like that shouldn't be a bad move, it almost kind of is a bad move because, like, you want to be seen as agnostic and not that you're like pushing the fans to disrupt the show that you're supposed to be a soldier on. So, like, I just think a lot of that stuff's kind of at play here. And then even when they had him under contract for a long time before this happened, they weren't doing anything with him. So clearly Triple H doesn't think much of him. But I guess that's not true because he loved him.
That's not true because he brought him in. Yeah. Yeah, at some point he brought him in, Chris. Hey, Chris, Bubba Ray Dudley had a pretty good idea that they should have him go to every single Raw, but like be in the audience or be in the crowd and not mention him at all. Kind of get the viral videos going and kind of all that stuff to build him up, kind of like an internet thing for a while, and then bring him back in. What are your thoughts on that?
He said this about Karrion Kross?
Yeah.
I was going to say that one thing I think that Kross is doing remarkably well, which we just saw Rollins do, is play the role on social media, in interviews, on podcasts, and keeping the story alive in other mediums. I think Kross was great at doing that, and I think if the WWE wants more of that, they'd be making a foolish decision to not renew his contract.
Yeah, I think so
good
too.
People all the time, though.
Yeah, they do cut a lot of people, and they're down an hour on SmackDown now. I think it's a great look, great character. He got a quick match with Sami Zayn on SummerSlam. I don't know. I think it's pretty tough. I don't want to get too into SummerSlam, but I do want to talk about one thing here before Brad comes on, hopefully. Cody Rhodes is your new world champion. Undisputed, in fact. Even though there are two world champions.
Let's not worry about that.
Who does Cody Rhodes face next? Because that's always the story. Okay, he won. He beat John Cena, which was the right thing to do. Who does he go against next? I have a couple people.
Why do you keep saying that was the right thing to do? I definitely don't agree with that.
It was the right thing to do to get the belt off of Cena because Cena does not have those matches in him anymore. You saw him say, that was it. I can't do this anymore. He's going to have a few more matches. His Brock Lesnar match is going to be 8 minutes long. Okay. The world title matches to end the show have to be good. You saw what happened at WrestleMania.
You painted yourself into a different corner though, if you're the WWE, because Cody has no story anymore. He had finished his story. There's nothing left for him to really do. I mean, and so now I am not interested in Cody or that belt right now because there's nothing going on.
That's why I asked you where he should go next.
He should have ever gotten the belt, and then I wouldn't have to worry about where he goes next.
Okay, well, Chris is not playing because he's still mad that I was really wrong on the Cowboys. Rod, who do you think Cody Rhodes could go against? And if you're not sure, I'll throw a couple people out at you.
Well, I mean, like, I don't know. Are you going to fire back at me? That's not the show they're on because, like, I'm not.
No. No.
Okay. What do we do with Gunther?
Well, he actually is getting nose surgery. That's why they did the nose. So he's out for a little bit.
Okay, that's fine, but he's getting nose surgery. He can come back with the face mask. You know what I mean? Like, that's fine. And I'm not saying we have to cook it up right now, but like,
I would love Gunther. I think Gunther would be good.
Again, we have the throwback to those two guys doing almost a one-on-one match the time that Cody first won the Royal Rumble to do the time that he lost to Roman at WrestleMania the first time around, right? So we have that callback. We have Gunther's incredible record versus Cody's incredible record, right? Like, that's a match that Michael Cole could tell. We got the cool Jackie Redmond thing that they like to do in the pre-show where she does like the tail of the tape. You know what I mean? We can break that down between those two, and it's really, really great. So give me Gunther. But the nose surgery certainly hurts that. So What if we turned Jay Uso? What if we turned Jay? What if he wanted to? He was like, I got back with Roman and that was cool. Now I got to get back from me. I'm going to get it from Cody. What if it was that?
I mean, you definitely tell the story of the friends, and you can show the replay. At the Rumble, they got drunk and they came out of the press conference. You could do that. It's face and face, so I'd be a little worried about Cody getting booed there, unless that's the way they want to go. But I don't think that's the way they want to go. Chris, Jay Uso do anything for you?
It brings up a couple ideas. One, you should already be making Cody a heel. He used an illegal banned move that they suspended KO for. All right, where's that investigation? Right, that's a conspiracy theory right there. Right, but here's something I learned last week, and I think this would be a perfect guy to bring up against Cody. Not Jey Uso. All right, main event Jey Uso is not main event. You bring somebody that I know both of you love because you told us last week on the podcast.
It's my number one pick. Chris.
Drew McIntyre.
I agree. I think Drew McIntyre is the guy. Hey, thanks a lot for doing the specialty match at SummerSlam with Jelly Roll. Really appreciate that. You sold for him a lot. You got the win. Now let's go for the big one. I like that.
Good.
I do.
That's good. No, that's good. Listen, as much as I don't want to feed into Chris's ultimate McIntyre propaganda fanboy stuff here, he's right. That's right. That's the answer.
You love him, Rod. He's
good. I won't deny the talent.
You literally said those words last week. We all heard you.
Yeah, no, we are. We're good. I'm glad you listened. Thank you. I appreciate that. That was our listen.
You and Corey Nance.
You and Corey Nance. Damian Priest. What about Damian Priest? He's angry that he didn't get a shot at SummerSlam. Little something different, comes out, goes full heel on Cody. No, not buying it?
No. Damian Priest doesn't do it for me. I'm sorry. I'm away from the mic. I almost didn't want people to hear my Damian Priest takes there because it bums me out because I like the guy. He seems like a great story. But Damian Priest doesn't do it for me. I would care less if he was a bad guy, if he was face versus Cody. Like, I'd rather see him just kind of like toil away and kind of be that like high level mid card face. Which is
he's a U.S. title, IC title type guy. Not I don't think he needs to have the heavyweight or the universal title anymore. At least not for a while.
Well, he wouldn't get it. He would lose. It'd be a program that they would run, but they do that in like Paris and then move on to something else.
Boo your Damian Priest, Jimmy. Better
Okay.
ideas.
Back to Logan Paul.
Yes. That's who I should have said. Chris definitely should have said Drew McIntyre. That's the perfect answer for him in kayfabe for this podcast. And I should have said Logan Paul. That's another great answer. But then the question comes up: how soon are we going to give Logan Paul a belt? Because I think we all,
he's going to win the championship at one day. Yeah,
that's what we got to decide is when. When are we doing it? Chris, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean he's had the U.S. belt, right? He's had that. I think it's time for him to get a bigger belt at this point, and so yeah, he should get it at some point because I'll hate it, and that's what the WWE wants, right?
Heat.
They want heat. A couple more.
Mark is not Mark. Excuse me, the Crippler. He joined us a while back. Brad is gonna be unable to join us, so we can just keep moving along.
Okay. You can go dust off Shinsuke Nakamura. Give him a couple weeks, get a match.
I don't hate that, but I did not think you were going to bring me Shinsuke on the pod this week. That's an exciting answer.
I mean, something different. Shinsuke's a good bad guy.
We do need more bad guys. Chris, Shinsuke, you want to see the black suit ninja out there again?
I want to see Cody lose the belt. I don't think they're going to give it to Shinsuke.
They
may give it to Drew.
I don't see. I think Logan would be the one they would give it to. I don't know if they'd give it to Drew right now.
Drew's not winning the belt. Because what are we doing? Cody's going to lose the belt after just taking it back from Cena, who didn't even have it for that long. Like, we're just going to start revolving the undisputed belt around that way, Chris? Come on.
This is the first time in what, 3 or 4 years? Actually, it's the first time ever that the champion hasn't been a year-long champion, I think.
Mm-hmm. I think you're absolutely right, because Cody had it from bell to bell and then lost it.
And then, if Cody goes heel, You could always do,
not going to do,
which
Jim.
he's not going to do.
Yeah, because he had the chance. The crowd
He's
Because-
already proven that he is. He's a bad guy.
No, he wasn't a bad guy. He used
It
the
was
salt end of the turnbuckle.
It was a street fight, Chris. You can do it.
Banned moves. They suspended KO for doing that in a no holds barred match.
Well, maybe they'll give. Well, hey, you know what happened to Cody? Cody knows.
No, they didn't. They suspended KO because he did it like when it was just not a match. He just pile drove people. It wasn't even a match when he did it. That's why KO got suspended.
That's less worse than what Cody did. Cody was doing it in a match. A specifically
Cody had the
banned
umbrella.
move.
He had like the
It's
like,
a
Will
banned
Ferrell in old
move.
school, right? He gets in trouble for not being in the trust tree. Are we not? Are we not in the trust tree, right? Like after he makes the comment about the waitress and thinking about what kind of panties she has on, right? So basically, that's what Cody was in. He was in the trust tree with the match, and that's why everything is not a rule break.
Is this because you became a Punk fan? Is this how you?
I
Was
think
this
it
why
is.
you're acting like this? You're a turncoat. That was the other thing I learned last week. Rod's a turncoat.
So, Chris, that's a great transition because CM Punk on Raw did what CM Punk does best. Thinks for himself. Doesn't care about LA Knight's chance at the title. LA Knight, Seth Rollins were having a pretty decent match to end Raw there. And then CM Punk comes out, costs him the match, and then he, LA Knight, and Roman Reigns all get beat down. And, of course, the Shula Fala, Rod, is pretty good, I think.
The Auxilla, Bronson Reed. I like Bronson Reed coming out and like looking a little spiffier, right? Like I like him coming out looking like that. He looks, he looks more menacing. He looks like a true heavy that way. I enjoy him being out there with the big boys. You know what I mean? Like if you're Bronson Reed, you got to love that I'm in the ring with Seth. I'm in the ring with Roman. I'm in the ring with LA Knight. I'm in the ring with CM Punk, right? Like it doesn't matter that he's clearly the last on that card. It matters that he's in that card and he's at the end of the show. So it's great for him. Love stealing the shoes. Love being called the Auxilla. No complaints. You're not going to get any complaints from me about this faction anytime soon, Jim. It's just not going to happen.
The tribal thief.
If you will. I think it's funny that they're always like Seth Rollins is the current champion. He's the visionary. You have the future Braun Breaker. Paul Heyman is the Oracle. They never really talk about Bronson Reed, which of course, when the group breaks up, Bronson Reed's going to bring that up a lot and go after Rollins and Breaker and all that. I just think that's kind of an interesting tidbit they have there. But
Jimmy,
what happened
before we leave this real quick, did they miss a chance to officially bring Mrs. Rollins in because of how viral Becky backstage looking at the camera and saying, were my tweets misleading? Right. And she's already a bad guy anyway. Like, was this their chance to bring her in officially as the other member who helped them pull this off?
I think they could have. They really could have. Hey, we talked about a fourth member. Here's our fourth member, Becky Lynch, coming down. And I think that would have been an interesting tidbit to put in there. But afterwards, guys, Roman Reigns gets killed. Punk out, right? LA Knight out. After the show goes off the air, you're thinking, okay, little 6-man action coming up maybe next week, in the next couple of weeks. That's going to be kind of fun. No. LA Knight, very angry at CM Punk. CM Punk, very angry at Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, very angry at everybody. They were pushing, they were shoving, they were yelling at each other. Where are we going to go with this now, guys? Chris.
LA Knight doesn't start shit. LA Knight finishes shit. And
Let's go.
He's going to finish Phil first, and then he's going to move back on to Rollins if Roman doesn't back out of the way.
Oh, we love our LA Knight, don't we, Rod?
We do, but we love Seth Rollins more. And by we, I mean the royal we, me, myself, and I. So I do not like any of these three gentlemen at the moment. I do not appreciate them making Seth Rollins' life difficult. I wish that they would leave Seth Rollins and his friends alone. They have jealousy in their eyes. There's jealousy in those eyes, to quote the Macho Man yelling at Hulk back during the Mega Powers Explode. And jealousy's not a good look on Phil. It's not a good look on Roman. And it's definitely the only look that LA Knight has ever had. Basically, LA Knight's character is always, I'm jealous of everybody else, and that works for him. But jealousy's not a good look on the other two guys. So leave my faction alone.
Before we head out, I do want to talk about this Becky Lynch and Nikki Bella back and forth. Loved it. It's not
Wait, ask the newbie if he got it, Jimmy. Ask the newbie if he got it.
Did you understand
No.
that, Chris?
I had to assume that this Nikki Bella and John Cena had a relationship at one point in time, but now she can't see him.
They did. They were together for a little while, and even as long for a TV show, Chris. They were on a TV show together. A famous scene where John Cena likes his house perfect, and you can't put anything anywhere. You can't touch anything. It's his house, so don't touch it. He definitely does not want to get married and never wants to get married. John Cena's happily married now. So the whole Becky Lynch saying that to Nikki was a good shot, and obviously Nikki knew that was coming. They had talked about that. This isn't a Charlotte Tiffany.
But
go ahead.
Chris was talking about equal. He was saying we should be fair across everything. And I haven't watched Unreal, but I've seen the clips. And apparently Tiffy got slapped on the wrist a little bit by Triple H and forced to go apologize to Charlotte for going off script like that. And if I was Nikki Bella, I better have okayed that, because if I didn't okay that,
she okayed that. That's really bad. She okayed that. They're professional. And and that actually made me interested in the match. I really don't care too much about Nikki Bella, but I think it'll be a fun match between the two of them once they get to that point.
Yeah, you're right about that. It gave me some intrigue because I don't care about Nikki Bella either.
Speaking of Unreal, I can't handle it. It's too great. I haven't
watched it yet. You've seen it? You finally?
I binged like the first 3 episodes, I think, up until Chelsea Green, which Chelsea Green just comes off as amazing because she is. She comes off as amazing there. My daughter Izzy.
We've been on that though, so that's basically Unreal craving us. That's them just stealing content from us.
It's like shocking. Chelsea Green's basically your MVP in the women's division for a lot of the shows last year. My daughter Izzy watched the first few episodes with me, and it really is cool seeing behind the scenes. Now, obviously, they are showing you what they want us to see. So just keep that in mind. Cody Rhodes saying, is it a work or is it a work?
Yeah,
is it a work?
I think there's definite
it's a work and a work.
Here.
It's definitely a work and a
work.
work.
Watching it though, because that's what's going to happen for me. And Mrs. Morgan, is interested in watching this. This is the kind of way that she would like wrestling disseminated to her, right? Sitting through a nearly 3-hour pay-per-view, and when the matches go 12 to 20 minutes, sometimes that gets a little much for her. But like the cuts of like, hey, we decided this, we decided that. Here's what this person's really like. Like she's gonna love all that. So we're gonna dive into Unreal real soon with her. So maybe we'll get Mrs. Morgan, back on this podcast.
Ooh, talk about Unreal.
Yeah, we know.
The Rhea Ripley comes off as just an amazing human being as well.
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Is this lifting up too much of the veil? Because I do like to live in the dark sometimes.
No.
Like how much?
The guy wearing a black shirt every time he comes on a podcast likes to live in the dark.
I mean, it shows them talking about who's going to win the Royal Rumble. It has them going to talk to Jey Uso, saying, "Hey, we're going to strap a rocket to your ass and go. Can you handle it? I know you're nervous, but you can't be blown up after your entrance. You gotta work at it." It's talking about. It shows the producers of the match telling the cameraman where to go because what's coming up next. It shows the producers saying, hey, you need to cut this, you need to cut that because you're running over on time. Abyss is Chris Park is a producer. He was Abyss in TNA and just kind of shows him in a great light as well. So it pulls it back. I mean, they know everything that's going to happen. It shows Rhea Ripley, Chris, in the back talking to Damian Priest going, okay, lock up, throw her against duck, elbow. I mean, it shows them going over what's going to happen in their matches. Chris hates it.
A little bit. I'll probably watch it, though.
I would, just to get, I mean, it's really kind of neat to see.
We got to talk about it on the show. We're a wrestling podcast. We got to talk about it. We're going to get the Mrs. Morgan, on. We're going to eventize it. We're going to put content out there. That's what
I'm willing to talk about wrestling. I don't know if I want to watch. I don't know. I'm probably going to, of course, I'm going to watch it.
Go do Firewatch again then. We'll have the Mrs. Morgan, come on in your stead. We'll see how good somebody is at maybe filling your shoes.
Wow.
A real newbie fan.
Wow.
Look at that. He just admitted, Jimmy, that he's not new.
Gentlemen, I enjoy talking wrestling with you every week on our YouTube shorts. Thank you very much for the thousands of people who are watching those. We do appreciate that. We'd like someone to watch our live content as well on YouTube. Just another little thing over. Just click that as well, but that's okay.
We have good timestamps as well, people. Like you're starting to see, we have breakdowns of what's happening in the shows. We understand that people are busy, but take a look. There might be a discussion within the show that you can get to and at least listen to that. All right. Just give us a little more than the shorts once in a while. That's all we're asking for.
We have video on Spotify as well, so make sure you're getting in that. And with that, you've been listening to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the Morgan Knows Podcasting Network. You're in the ring with Jimmy, Chris, and Rod.
LA Knight, your pop when you came out on Raw last night was huge. We see you, my man. We see you on this show as always. But stop messing with Seth Rollins.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Goodbye, net. Yeah.